integrity. We are Splash. 105.5 FM. 105.5 The Splash.
Quick, Charger 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
Tennis first in its congratulations, Novak Djokovic. He's through to the Australian Open final on Sunday after beating Aslan Karatsev.
More sport and hashtag IPL Auction 2021, the top global trend. It's a big event for the cricket world. The Indian Premier League teams are bidding for top players. Australia's Glenn Maxwell signed to RCB,
While the Rajasthan Royals snapped up South Africa's Chris Morris for a record $2.25 million.
Myanmar next, police have used water cannon to disperse protesters in the capital as mass demos against the military takeover continue.
Meanwhile, in the country's biggest city, Yangon, motorists have been driving slowly through the streets to cause disruption.
Facebook has acknowledged that blocking health, weather and fire service pages in Australia was a mistake and is restoring them. It had disabled them as part of its action to block content from news providers there.
And fans of the Addams Family, you're gonna love this one. A new series centered on Wednesday Addams is coming to Netflix.
1329G, BBC per minute.
Quick, Charger 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
Here is
105.5.
105.5 Splash.
Slash 105.5 FM. Bẹ́ẹ̀ tí kọ́ wa kékeré. Ẹ tó náà fà ní àkókò.
All right, you're welcome to Talking Points this afternoon. My name is Michael Olatunbosun. It's good to have you join us on the program today. So you know the deal. It is to discuss things that affect us as a people, bring them to the table, deal with them. And the whole idea is to help solve a problem. Here we are again today. So I told you on Tuesday that I will be talking about health, and particularly the health insurance. As an advocate of the SDG, I understand that goal 3 talks about health. Well, one thing about health is that it has to be universal before it can be health. So if you have a few healthy people in society, then that society is sick. Everybody has to have some measure of health. According to the document that emanated from the Universal Health Coverage Forum in Tokyo 2017, it was affirmed that there was need to commit to accelerating progress towards universal health coverage and to achieve health for all people, whoever they are, wherever they live, by 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals, 3 particularly, especially 3.8, that is target 3.8 of the SDGs, seeks to provide all people with access to high-quality, integrated, people-centered health services, and must also include promotive, preventive, curative, rehabilitative, and palliative health services, as well as safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines. The whole essence of the conversation on the program today is the key, and the key question for me is how to ensure that people do not suffer financial hardship when accessing services. Of course, health is basically a human right, and universal health coverage is essentially, and it's essential to health for all and to human security. So how to ensure that we leave no one behind is to make sure that we prioritize the most vulnerable members of the world's population, the children, women, those affected by emergencies, refugees and migrants, the marginalized, the stigmatized and minority populations are so often living in extremely difficult circumstances. A few facts will suffice. At least half of the world's population still does not have access to quality essential services to protect and promote health. 800 million people are spending at least 10% of their household budget on out-of-pocket healthcare expenses, and nearly 100 million people are being pushed into extreme poverty each year due to healthcare costs. Health insurance schemes seem to be the answer to this nagging question. That's me talking. And that's why we have this conversation today on Talking Points, Splash FM 105.5. And I am focusing on the Oyo State Health Insurance Agency, OISHA. The agency is an organization established as a conscious effort of the Oyo State government. I stole that from their Twitter handle, right? That to ensure access to qualitative health and an affordable cost through various prepayment systems to all residents of the state. I have with me in the studios the Executive Secretary of the Oyo State Health Insurance Agency, and is Dr. Shola Akande. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, listeners at home, viewers all over the world. Good afternoon.
It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. I've been following, the Oyo State Health Insurance Agency for quite some time. I've been just trying to get into the rhythm. I particularly believe very strongly in, the concept of health insurance. I'd like to bring, before I bring it to the microphone fully, according to a study situated in Oyo State very recently, it says that only 5% of Nigerians have health insurance. That study was basically about the National Health Insurance Scheme. Right. But that researcher, focused on Oyo State as is universal, as its universe, beg your pardon. And it said that 70% still finance their health care through out-of-pocket expenditure. So he talked about some of the things that are standing in the way of people accessing the health insurance scheme. And I will come to those issues pretty soon. I want you to talk about OISHA in the first instance. Let us into the ideals and particularly of this scheme. I'd like to know why the Oyo State government set up OISHA and I mean the goals.
Of course, you started alluding to those factors, in your general introduction. When we are talking about Nigeria, just about 5% covered. And we are talking about achieving universal coverage by year 2025. And of course, you begin to know that we begin to look at things in a different way, possibly do things in a different manner, and then come up with some innovation. So you're talking about 5% coverage, and then, of course, you're talking about the universal figure of 70% out of pocket. That is not even Oyo State. That's not even Nigeria. Exactly. That's a universal WHO figure of out-of-pocket expenditure. And when we were discussing before we came in, you make a sound statement, say everybody is a sickness away from poverty. So when you are spending 70% out of your income on your head, of course, you are knocking on the door of poverty.
That's poverty, essentially.
You can't actually get by. And so that's one of the essential factors or the reasons why states are allowed to now go and do their own agency. NHIs have been trying to get this done, and it seems they are not reaching the figure they want on time. Number two, NHIs at Abuja, you are now reaching the grassroots. Number three, the style of the operation when they came in make health insurance to look like it's for formal sector alone. They were concentrating, on federal civil servant.
Exactly.
And then their heart said this thing is not mandatory. That was optional. So these are all factors that have deterred, our speed, towards universal coverage, particularly in Nigeria. And so states now say, okay, can we push this thing by ourselves? You know, we have a geographical location. We have a people we are addressing. Oyo State is talking about 8 million population. Oyo State, we talk about 3 local government area. You talk about your tribes. You talk about your people. You know, I know the villages. I know the corners of Oyo State. So why do you want to sit in Abuja and run an health insurance scheme? So why don't we just have states run their own health insurance scheme? And so Oyo State, first in Nigeria to have, you know, a coverage, you know, a program that covers every resident of Oyo State, came up with a law that says, okay, for residents of Oyo State, this will be mandatory. For residents of Oyo State, we are going to have a universal package that we would try to push, you know, to achieve universal health coverage. For residents of Oyo State, organized private sector, informal sector, you must come on board the scheme, you know. And so the objective actually is to be able to reverse the trend of out-of-pocket expenditure. Can we bring it to 30%? That's what we are thinking in Oyo State. We know it's possible, and I'll say, okay, let's have a scheme. So Oyo State Health Insurance Agency is flying Oyo State Health Insurance Scheme, and we have a plan that we are driving to achieving universal health coverage. Again, we know that there's a linkage between health and poverty.
Yes.
That's one factor that a lot of people don't know. If you're sick, productivity decreases, your employer, you know, is at a risk of losing you, of not producing enough. Again, you yourself, you know, your exposure, your risk may begin, you know, to come down. And then, of course, when you are sick, you are spending your money, you know, to make sure that you stay alive. And so your family is at risk, your employer is at risk, your life is at risk, and gradually, you know, economic power, you know, is gradually coming down. And so poverty locks. So and that's why if we can solve health problem, then we can begin to solve poverty issues, you know, around us. So that is why you said in Oyo State, not only we want to reverse out-of-pocket expenditure, we want to improve the life of the people. We want to improve the awareness of the people. We want to improve the economy of the people, you know, and that is the essence of actually bringing down, of course, again, on the long run, improve life expectancy. If you are doing well, you are happy, because one of the things even that keep people is depression. And you know that this day, that is on the rise, actually.
Exactly.
You know, you see somebody today, you smile together, and tomorrow is committed suicide. And it's not about social class, it's not the family you belong to. You know, it's just because things are happening around you that seems outside your control. You know, and that is why you say in Oyo State, can we have a scheme? And then we begin to look into how people can come on the scheme, reduce out-of-pocket expenditure, and then better their life.
For a country that, you know, has a high, you know, number of, you know, poor people, I think the last time I checked was about 82 million Nigerians live below the poverty line. It would sound beautiful to say that health insurance is the way to go.
Definitely.
But, you know, quite a number of issues around getting people to buy in. Some of them, you know, a lot of times you begin to ask a question. What I just discovered was that even though it is to get people out of, to understand that with the basic minimum, you can get health insurance coverage. But poverty still speaks to why the coverage is still minimal.
Let me start from this way, because you used a certain word that are critical when you're talking about universal health coverage. You've spoken randomly and severally about access. You know, and so when you're talking about universal health coverage, access is important. But when you're talking about access, actually, what are you talking about? The first you're talking about is that I can use an hospital. The fact that an hospital is next to my house does not mean that I have an access to that hospital.
Of course, yes.
You know, so I must have access to an hospital. Then I must have access, you know, to care. So when you're talking about access, you're talking, I can use a facility. Number two, I can use it at the time that I want to use it. I can use it for the quality and quantity of care that I need. Then I can use it for the type of care that I need. And lastly, without injury to my pocket. Those are the 5 items. So the hospital is available at the time that I want to use the hospital, the quantity of care that I need from the hospital, and then without injury to my pocket, and then the type of care. You know, all you mentioned when you're talking about that definition, you're talking about preventive, you're talking about curative, you're talking about palliative. Those are the types of care that I might need. So I am able to have that type at the time that I want it, the quality and the quantity that I want, and then without, pushing me, to poverty. When I talk around this, I always give the story, of an Okada rider whose wife, got pregnant and had to deliver, and then he got to an hospital, and then a very good hospital and all, but the Okada man has to sell his Okada, for the delivery of the child. And so you find out that the wife, was able to have access, got into hospital, the type of care, CS, he got it. Now, at the time that is needed, yes, she got it, the quantity, she got it, but
there's a source of
there's
livelihood.
injury,
Exactly.
to the pocket of that family. The baby will get back home, the wife will get back home, but the man has lost his job. Now, you're not talking about universal coverage any longer because injury has happened to a man. Now, that is why I always talk about when you're talking about poverty. Now, and I said to people, I say, look, yes, there's poverty, but it's not actually poverty that is hindering our movement towards universal health coverage. Can I say the first problem that we have? The first problem that we have is lack of understanding, of insurance by the people. You said something that is fantastic. Look, if health insurance will fail, then healthcare all around the world will fail. We are not even talking about Nigeria alone, because when people talk about march to universal coverage, Nigeria is not getting there, etc., etc. I say, look, how many states actually have attained universal coverage? How many states?
We will come to these questions when I come back from this break. It's still Talking Points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. We're talking health insurance, and the Executive Secretary of your State Health Insurance Agency, OISHA, Dr. Shola Akande, is still with me. Don't go away, please.
Splash FM 105.5.
Uncle Dentist, wetin be cavities and how Colgate take dey protect my teeth from cavities? Shey dey use comfort?
No dear, na hole for teeth dey cause most tooth pain wey be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection take brush every day, the confirmed formula go help keep natural calcium inside our teeth wey go protect them from tooth decay.
Time don reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Now, the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
Do you need a fully furnished, nice and comfortable hostel accommodation in the University of Ibadan? Or a place for seminars and executive trainings at the same venue? You do not have to worry. Adebayo Akode Hall suits your lodging needs and provides you a home away from home. Adebayo Akode Hall is a 4-star hostel built in a serene environment with constant supply of electricity. It has fully furnished rooms that gives you great comfort at an affordable price. Adebayo Akode Hall is located at Ajibode Extension, University of Ibadan. To make reservations, visit www.adebayohall.com or call the numbers 0805-699-8718, 0805-699-8719, 0805-699-8720. Adebayo Akode Hall. Built for comfort. Built for you.
It's here! What's that? What's here, Mom?
The new Maxi 20 hand sanitizer.
Tell me about it, Mom.
The new Maxi 20 hand sanitizer is carefully produced to help us fight germs and provide the right protection for every family.
Introducing the new Maxi 20 hand sanitizer to help you fight germs every day.
Mom, now I can clean up germs that touch my hand and be fine, right?
Yes, son, you can, because Maxi 20 will keep you protected.
Yippee!
Maxi 20, more on germs. Another quality product from Intercontinental Distillers Limited.
Oh, yes.
Bajaj Box
Boxer celebrates 4 million plus happy customers in Nigeria. Buy a Boxer and get 4,000 naira airtime free. Rush to your nearest Boxer dealership today. Offer valid while stocks last. Call 0800 0111 1111 for inquiries. Terms and conditions apply.
It's banging and electrifying. It's Sports Bang. Enjoy the best and the latest sports stories. Get ready for logical arguments, exclusive bites, comprehensive analysis, and superb banter.
There's no better number 10. Anyway, it was over.
On Sports Bang. Mondays to Fridays by 7:30 a.m. and by 6:30 p.m. every Monday and Tuesday on Slash 105.5 FM. Join us on the planet where sports lovers live. Sports Bang. Get the big picture. Get the whole story with Sports On.
I won't tell you the secret of better food. Now the no chicken and classic seasoning powder. The ingredient that take make am natural by nature. Like real chicken, rosemary, black and white pepper, garlic, onion, parsley, mushroom, coriander. If you knack no seasoning powder for inside your jollof, fried rice, egusi, and all other soup, you go know say flavor pass flavor. No seasoning powder. Natural by ingredients. Bangba by flavor.
Splash FM 105.5.
All right, it's still Talking Points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. I'm talking health insurance today. And I have the Executive Secretary of Oyo State Health Insurance Agency, Dr. Shola Alkonde, with me. By the way, you can catch glimpse of what's up in the studios. Just go to www.facebook.com/Splash FM 105.5 Ibadan, and you'll find the sight and sound of the goings on in the studio. If you can do that now, it will be good to just understand the conversation as well. Okay, let's come back to our conversation earlier, sir. I thought I should ask you. I was just trying to look at the states in Nigeria that are involved in that have health insurance scheme. That was basically what you said last. We'll come back to that. I want to ask about the coverage now in Oyo State of Oisha. How far have you traveled in terms of getting people into the net?
Okay, thank you very much. We are hitting 200 gradually.
200,000. Okay.
Wow. At least within the space of 3 years that we started the scheme. And of course, a lot of lives are benefited on the scheme, talking about surgical interventions. And then for our universal health coverage drive is 8,000 naira per life, and that's why I say to people that, look, we are talking about universal health coverage. The premium has to be as low as possible because we are talking about leaving no one behind. You are talking about the poor. You are talking about the rich. You are talking about, the vulnerable groups. So as much as possible, you want to have a very low premium that people can actually strive to get. 8,000 naira is less than 50 naira, in a day. And like I always say, like I was saying before we went on break, the issue around health sometimes is not about the poverty. It's about people prioritizing health. It's about people having some level of understanding, about their health, and then they begin to make adjustments. I talk to, even you go out now, you see the guy that is going to put hair in your tire. He has a phone. He is going to buy credit to do Facebook, to do WhatsApp. The woman that is selling pepper has a phone, is going to buy stuff into it, And so most of the time it's about what we place as priority. And it's very bad, this part of the world, because our sense of wellness is, I can climb stairs, I can jump, I can move about, but you see, yes, in a center climb, that's not the sense of wellness. The sense of wellness is I ask you about your BP, you're able to tell me what your BP is. I ask about your cholesterol level. You're able to tell me what your cholesterol level is. Those are the people that say I'm healthy. But in this place, you see somebody that is jumping today, and tomorrow they said he's passed on and say, the witch of the family has caught up with him or her. But the guy that is jumping today actually has been carrying high blood pressure for the past 6 months. He did not know because he didn't care about, measuring the BP. He's had high blood sugar, for 2 years. He never knew about that until something happens, and then they say it's passed on, and then we blame the witches and wizards for that. And so we're saying that, look, let's prioritize our health. So when we make it priority, all that I need to do sometimes is, okay, let me save the bottle of soft drink I'm going to take today, save that money. Let me reduce my newspaper I'm going to buy 2. Let me reduce it to 1. Save that money. Normally I buy, 1,000 naira worth of airtime every day. Can I buy 500 today until I'm able to put together, 1,000 naira, 8,000 naira, and then I'm going to have what looks like free head for the next 1 year. So it's about number one, our mental attitude. So when you are talking actually about poverty, it's not poverty in terms of money, it's poverty in terms, of understanding, poverty in terms of exposure, poverty in terms of understanding, poverty in terms of knowing the trend that is going up in life. Look, it was universal health coverage that Obama was trying to think about. That was what he had in his mind when he started Obamacare. US is very far from universal health coverage. The UK is very far from universal health coverage. Rwanda is a good example in Africa. There's about 90. Germany has done a lot to reach universal health coverage. Many of the first world countries are so far away. You read, we are around 50% universal coverage, around the world. Even the first world countries are still far away from universal coverage. And you see, the problem is that people don't begin to think about their health until they are here. Okay,
so those are some of the challenges now. You see, poverty in terms of our priorities. Yeah. A lot of us think that it's better to look good on the outside and then we can begin to pray about what's inside. Exactly. And when something happens, we begin to say, things like that. Exactly. But how are you planning to scale that hurdle in terms of disabusing the minds of the people and getting them to unlearn some of these perceptions? To I know superstition plays a big role in preventing people from accessing the health insurance scheme. How grounded is Oishia in terms of the grassroots? 200,000 people in the state of about 11 million people are still very far away.
If you're talking about statistics, of course it's far. If you're talking about relativity to health insurance in Nigeria, that's a major achievement. Okay. If you are talking about relativity, to the number of people, a group of people in a state, that's still far away. When you're talking about where we are coming from in Nigeria, we are people averse to health insurance, even averse to insurance generally. How many people we see on the road and tell them that, do you have comprehensive health insurance for your car? You say your house is insured, your phone, your phone is insured, your house is insured. You can insure your phone. They don't even know you can insure your shoe, you can insure your life. You don't understand that. So when you're talking about where we are coming from, and then you can have a scheme run by a state government that is having like 200,000 in 3 years. That's a major deal, because there are a lot of things against anything set up about a government. People don't want to do business with a government. Some will say it will not last. Some will say they will embezzle the money. Some will say, what about there's a change of government? So you see, we move from actually negative to where we are today. And one of the things we were able to do was we knew that understanding generally about health insurance is poor. Okay. Religion has not helped as well. You talk to a Christian and say, come on to do health insurance, get money, paying to health insurance and will say that, look, that's negative confession. In other words, that means that I don't have faith. I want to, saving for health insurance, like want to believe that I'll be sick.
Getting sick tomorrow.
And then you have some aspect of Islam too that say, look, health insurance is not in Quran. And that's why, our counterpart bodies in the North don't call it health insurance. They call it contributory scheme.
Okay.
So you can see from position of religion that health insurance, was doomed to fail. You are talking in terms of how people spend their money. Health insurance was doomed to fail. You are talking even about culture, of the people. Health insurance, was doomed to fail. And so that was the challenges that we were facing when we started. That was the situation we were in when we started. But at the same time, we knew that if health insurance will fail, then healthcare delivery in Nigeria has failed generally. So we had to deploy a lot of means to begin to get people to have a better understanding. One thing that we knew was, look, if we could get people to have an understanding, their attitude will change.
Okay.
Their belief will change. I was talking to a pastor and I said, sir, you said, look at insurance, you don't have faith. I said, but you have a fence around your house, you have a wall around your house. That means you don't have faith. You shouldn't have, build that fence around your wall. I said, sir, when you are going to sleep at night, you lock your gate, you lock your door. That means that you are faithless. You should have left your door open since you have faith. I said, the same thing you're talking about health insurance. Health insurance is not attracting illness. Health insurance is just applying the concability, the medulla oblongata that God has given you. Look, let me prepare. Anything can happen. You don't have an account for illness. I don't have an account for illness. So trust somebody to take care of your health. And that's why I say, look, put 8,000 naira together, and then you get health insurance. More so, there's none of us that is seated there. There's nobody you interview that does not spend more than 8,000 naira, in a year on his health. Even the so-called people that say they don't go to hospital, they do akampo. You do a 100 naira a day, how much does it amount to in a year? Do you understand? If you want to use local concussion, the leaves that you are going to cut, the kerosene you are going to use to cook it, the materials you are going to add up to it, even the bush you go into, the risk of exposing yourself, to the bite of a snake, etc., etc. So at the end of the year, you spend 8,000 naira.
Okay.
And so we are saying that you are going to a new year, or you are hearing about this scheme for the first time. Why don't you put together some amount of money and say, look, I want to be free from Akampo. So after all, most of the Akampo, they are expired drugs.
Okay, so the basic to enlist in the health insurance scheme or for your state is 8,000 naira
per life.
Per life. So that's
28,000 naira for a family.
28,000 naira for a family of four. Okay, so that's about 600 naira per month.
Exactly.
Okay, but my big question now is, what's the span of this 8,000? So you begin to ask the question. A lot of people, basic is malaria. You understand what I'm talking about? For some people, it is CS. The woman wants to deliver a baby and it's not coming naturally. They have to perform an operation and all that. So tell me, this 8,000 naira, which is the basic, can it take care of some of this?
You've just mentioned them. Basic exposure to ill health. You're talking about malaria. Somebody, I was talking on Sunday to a group of people and said some live risk illnesses. I said, which sickness is not life threatening?
Even malaria is.
I knew I was trying to talk about chronic illnesses. I said, which illness is not life threatening? Even ordinary malaria, people have died, from complication of malaria.
Now you have more people dying of malaria.
Even by statistics.
Exactly.
So now you pay your 8,000 naira. We give you an ID card. You choose out of our accredited facilities, either primary health care center, either secondary facilities, either private facilities, and then you have access to care for 1 year. Within the 1 year, you have the chance to change your facility about twice or thrice if you think you are not happy, with the primary facility you've chosen. And then you go ahead to have care for things like malaria, care for things like typhoid infection, care for other ailments that can be managed conservatively, care for surgical illnesses. You just mentioned it the other time. Cesarean section, we've done over 600. Since we started the scheme, you're talking about appendicectomy for people that have problem with their appendix. You're talking about swelling in any part of the body. You're talking about your eyes, nose, throat, hair is covered 8,000 naira. And then if there's any need for admission, 21 days, that is covered too.
21 days?
Yes, for the period of 1 year that you're on the scheme. Some orthopedic care is taking care, under the scheme. So more or less, 80% of, the daily occurrences of illnesses
are covered here.
And then road traffic accidents covered to an extent.
Okay, so you have another package. It's called Standard Plus, 13,500. You have Standard FIC, 108,000. It depends on the size of your pockets.
The thing we are trying to do is that, you are talking around universal health coverage. So we have that 8,000 naira and 28,000 naira, as our platform to reach universal health coverage. But I come to talk to you now, and then like some people are done, you said, look, there's a particular benefit that I want, and it's not covered under this your universal
so you can migrate
and say, look, I want a top up. So we call it top up.
All right.
So you can now scale up, to the next plan, 108. We have a couple, they are grandparents that have been on a 8,000 naira plan for a while, but they have some chronic illnesses, and, I'm sure they live in America before, so they have a major understanding of health insurance. So they want to renew this year. They just said to us that, look, we have some issues that we think we can't be done under 8,000 naira. What is your next package? We can have exposure to that kind of management.
The premium.
They say 108. And so now they just renew under 108, and they're enjoying their life under the scheme. So everything is just about an understanding and knowledge of the way health insurance is run all over the world.
All right, it's still Talking Points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. Dr. Shola Akande is Executive Secretary of your State Health Insurance Agency, OISHIA. Do you have a question for him? So you can ask a question. 0809 155 1055, 0805 699 8678, and 0706 949 3000. Those are the numbers to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. So I'd like to ask you, how do we scale the other big challenges so that we can have maximum coverage? I'm interested in that. Of course, I am enrolled in health insurance. By the way, maybe I should venture. Can someone who is involved in or who has enrolled in a particular health insurance scheme,
why not?
Can that person also enroll in?
Why not? You're just giving yourself some other options. I'm on NHIS, I'm on Oyo State scheme. We have people that are on a private plan, they are on NHIS, so they carry 3 cards. You can choose which one that you want to use. In other words, which of the ones you want to sleep with tonight. So it gives you some.
I didn't hear that.
Don't worry, let me just carry on. So it gives you some level of choices to make, so you can actually come in.
All right, I have a caller here. Let's attend to this caller. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sir, good afternoon.
Marcus Williams is my name.
Pastor Marcus Williams. Welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you. I'm impressed with what is ongoing right now, and this our project that we just closed out. They mandated us to get health insurance, and we went to this OISHA, and we got enrolled. At least they gave us 10 staff. So I'm impressed hearing it on radio, and I just want to ask, if I want to change the hospital from the one I chose to a place much more closer to my house, how do I go about that?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It's very simple. You just talk to your desk officer and pick a change of facility form, and then you indicate the new hospital you want to go to, and within 2 months that will be effected.
I hope it's not that number that you call that will be saying press 1, press 2. There are some numbers that...
No.
Okay, hello.
You call our lines.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Baba Yemi from Masaka.
Let's talk, sir.
I just want to ask the man the question. I am impressed by what the man said. I think we need more of that. What about the drugs? Is every drug covered by that insurance? Because I have that nasty experience with one at the national level. When you get to the pharmacy store, they will start telling you this is not covered, this is not covered, this is not covered. So you have to buy those ones with your money. So it makes it very, very ineffective. What about your own? Is it the same thing or there are exceptions?
All right, thank you very much.
By the time we enter, pay 8,000, you believe that everything is covered. By the time you go to the pharmacy, you say hearing another news again.
All right, thank you.
In tongues.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Yobaba Yemi. That's a very critical question. But
okay, thank you very much, sir. Sir, the truth of the matter is that there's no health insurance that provides coverage 100%. Even in the best climes, they don't have. UK will tell you that they cover everything, but you have to wait until it becomes your turn on the queue. So sometimes you can wait for 3, 4, 5 years. Now, not all drugs will be covered by a scheme, but one thing that we are doing in Oyo State that is fantastic is that we give everybody terms of engagement. You have your certificate, you will have your benefit package, so you know what is covered,
the boundaries.
What is not covered. However, in Oyo State, almost all what you need is covered because under that 8,000 naira plan, it is generic drugs that we are exposed to. Generic drugs, and if they give you generic drugs, you have generic drugs for all the ailments, But where differences will begin to come in is when enrollees begin to make demand, for branded drugs. So some will say it's either these drugs or you don't give me drugs.
You don't give me any.
And that's where the differences begin to come in. And not only that, NHIs do co-payment. And in Oyo State, we don't do co-payment. And that makes people to have access to almost all the drugs that they want. Let me give you an instance. I know there's somebody that was on admission on a scheme, and he was giving his drug without asking for extra cost, but when they got to a level of management, they desire to use a particular branded drugs, and you see that is allowed. So when they decided to use that particular branded drugs, they have to say to the relative, of the patient to go and buy.
Okay,
you do understand that?
We'll attend to more calls when we come back from this break. It's still Talking Points on Splash FM.
Splash FM 105.5.
kí ni kí n ṣe báyìí o.
kí ló dé arákùnrin.
owó tán lójijì lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ mi ni mo sì wà nínú ìpàdé pàtàkì kan lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí kò sì sí owó láti ra wákàtí ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn àbókí ládùúgbò ilé ìfowópamọ́sí ti tilẹ̀kùn.
ṣé kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ rẹ.
testa 9455 lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ kò sì ra wákàtí ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ àti dátà kódà ó tún lè san gbogbo owó ná ẹ̀rọ amóhùnmáwòrán àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ fún wa lórí star 945 hash.
ọpẹ́ o má bínú mọ́ mi ìgbẹ́ mọ́ mo ti padà lọ sórí ìpèdí.
láti ra wákàtí ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ aago ìpè owó iná àti àwọn ohun èlò yòókù lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ testa 945 hash.
Wema Bank, with you all the way.
Mama Betty mi gbági ti gbàràdà ó ti gbé titun dé òde. A wà ní gbági nílùú Ìbàdàn àtòjúlówó aṣọ. Mama Betty ní gbági ti gbàràdà ó ti gbé titun dé. A wà ní gbági nílùú Ìbàdàn àtòjúlówó aṣọ.
èrè dàgìrì fẹ́ máa bọ̀ ní Betty Store CWH 65 Red Block New Gbagi Market Ìbàdàn for your aṣọ ẹbí different type of fabric Gupia lace, boy lace, atiku, dry lace, Swiss voice coral lace, French lace, Polish lace, organza lace, gèlè hair tie. Owó wa ò ga jara rárá. Àwọn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wa rèé 07061355556 08056998718 07060923813. Gmail wa bettymama1@gmail.com. Come and patronize us today.
Olúwa yóò ṣohun gbogbo tó fẹ́ o, àṣẹ ń bẹ lẹ́nu wòlíì rẹ̀, Prọfẹ̀sà Òjó.
ìsọjí orí afẹ́fẹ́ ti dé. gbogbo wa ká máa kíra wa kú oríire. bí olúwa ti ń bẹ tí ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ wá. ọgbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wòlíì ọlọ́run prọfẹ̀t Sam Òjó ọmọlójú Jésù bàbá sẹ́gẹ̀dógó. tó fi máa wàásù gbàdúrà fún gbogbo ènìyàn láti tún lè jáde. mú wa wọnú ògo titun pẹ̀lú ìfàmì òróró yàn tún wòlíì ọlọ́run aláyé. prọfẹ̀t Sam Òjó ọmọlójú Jésù bàbá sẹ́gẹ̀dógó. lórí ìkànnì yìí Splash 105.5 FM. láàrin aago mẹ́wàá alẹ́ sí aago mẹ́wàá àbọ̀ alẹ́ lójoojúmọ́. gbogbo ìgbòkègbodò rẹ látàárọ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ yọrí sí rere. èṣù ò gbọ́dọ̀ gba eré ọwọ́ rẹ dànù. ó ṣe pàtàkì kó wà nínú ẹ̀mí. láago mẹ́wàá alẹ́ pẹ̀lú wòlíì ọlọ́run tí náà ẹ̀mí mímọ́ jó bulabula nínú ẹ̀. prọfẹ̀t Sam Òjó ọmọlójú Jésù. ó jí dandan kó o ní testimony. tó o bá ti ń gbọ́ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀. Jésù lolúwa.
You see that your cousin will not dey carry last for food matter? And that your niece will not like to chop better thing?
No, I know the shopper.
What about your uncle? We not get shame. And that your guy will always like drink the last Coca-Cola. We sabi them. But without them, food not is sweet. Coca-Cola and food together tastes better.
Taste the feeling.
It's banging and electrifying. It's Sports Bang. Enjoy the best and the latest sports stories.
Birmingham has gone and Fulham have lost.
Get ready for logical arguments, exclusive bites, comprehensive analysis, and superb banter.
There's no better number 10 anywhere in world football.
On Sports Bang. Mondays to Fridays by 7:30 a.m. and by 6:30 p.m. every Monday and Tuesday on Splash 105.5 FM. Join us on the planet where sports lovers live. Sports Bang. Get the big picture. Get the whole story. We keep you sports on.
Àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ International Organization for Migration tí wọ́n mọ̀ sí IOM ń ké pe àwọn àparàbọ̀ tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀dé láti orílẹ̀-èdè Mali láti January 2018 títí di ìwòyí tí wọ́n dé láti pápákọ̀ òfurufú Èkó tí wọn ò sì tí ì gba àbí rí ìrànwọ́ láti ọ̀dọ̀ IOM. Wọ́n ní kí ẹ pé àwọn 0902-170-6377 0907-007-1483 0907-007-1478 0907-007-1275 àti 0701-561-3716. Kéré o!
Splash FM 105.5.
All right, it's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. We're talking health insurance. I still have Executive Secretary of your State Health Insurance Agency, Oishia, Dr. Shola Akande. So let's talk going forward. In case you'd like to talk to us, we still have some time to attend to a call or two in case you have a comment or query and on how to get into the scheme. Okay, so let's talk. 0809-155-1055, 0805-699-8678, and 07069-493000. Those are the numbers in case you'd like to talk to us. Dr. Akande, let's talk about let's chat a way forward now. So what exactly are your targets I know that when the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, was delivering his 2021 budget last year, he talked about making health one of the key priorities of the government. So I understand that much. He talked about upgrading some health facilities and the rest of it. Okay, but this is health insurance. Of course, he didn't really emphasize the health insurance aspect of it. I want to know your targets. You have 200,000 in 3 years. What are you looking at?
Now, basically, our drive actually is to be able to see how we can get 5% enrollment of Oyo State population into Oyo State Health Insurance Scheme in the next 2 years. And that will be actually a milestone because that's what NHIS haven't been able to do in 15 years. We thought that per month can we actually be able to reach between 3,500 to 5,000 people come into the scheme, either by way of re-enrollment or new enrollment coming into the scheme. And that's the deal that we have and that we're running towards, and we know we can attain that.
That's enormous, 5%.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And not only that, what are the means we are putting forward to be able to make sure we get that done? One of the key areas that we are trying to focus on now is what we call adoption model. We want the state government to adopt some population. We want the people that have the wherewithal, philanthropists, to adopt some population. We want companies, organized private sector to adopt some population, get them into health insurance, and then the agency will now look for a way to sustain them on the scheme for at least 2 years. And then, of course, we are trying to say now that, look, all organized private sector in Oyo State, by provision of the law, should be able to get their workers into the scheme. And I was talking to a group of people, and I said, look, it's win-win for a company when you are able to get your workers into the scheme. Either you get them to pay, or you pay for them, or you do co-payment, because at the end of the day, it's going to be benefit, be to the benefit of the company. Is going to be beneficial even to the people themselves. So those are the things we are trying to look into to be able to drive, towards achieving universal health coverage. And then, of course, there's a key thing that we do in Oyo State that is not widespread yet, and that's what we call enrollment by barter. You don't have money in your pocket, but you have stuff that you can put forward. And especially we are pushing or driving this in the rural areas where you have farmers that are richer than you and I. The only thing is that they don't have cash in their pocket, but they have hectares of farmland, plantations, and so they can say, we want to just give you 2 bags of yam, you convert it to money and then get on the scheme. Yes, exactly. You know actually that was how insurance or cooperative was birthed. They call it ARO, in those olden days. None of us actually have money in our pocket, but you will get my farm cultivated, then the next weekend we get your farm cultivated, the next weekend we get our farm cultivated. They didn't have money, and that's why I say to people this day that we think that the answer to all the problem, is money. We drive government crazy. We tell them that they haven't done this. We drive our parents crazy. We tell them we haven't done this. But I say to people, what do you have in your brain? What idea have you bathed in your brain? Okay. When you have an idea, then you have resources actually, to move that.
Can you turn down the volume on your radio, please? I can still hear something howling at the back.
Splash FM.
Okay, this is Splash FM. You'd like to talk to us?
I'm Mrs. Lowry. I live in the area. Where do you get to register?
Mrs. Lowry, right?
Yes. Where are you going to register?
Okay.
Which area?
I'm supposed to register.
Okay. Where is your place? Which area are you now, currently?
I live in Carifele.
Okay, so around Challenge, right?
Around Challenge. We can go to Enyi Grammar. There's Argon Primary Care Center. We have an enrollment unit there. You can walk in there and then ask that you want to enroll on OISHA scheme. You can go to room 19 BCOS. I think that's a straight drive from here to around the Diakwe, room 19. You can go in there. Then we have one of our HMOs, healthcare, that is opposite the mall, on the Ring Road.
The Ring Road Mall here.
Is around Oni Memorial. You can go in there. You can even actually go to Oni Memorial Children Hospital, ask for the desk officer. That
that would be fine.
All right.
I think it's better.
Okay.
That is a long road.
All right. Thank you very much, madam.
All I have to do is just get there and say I want to.
You want to enroll to OISHA, not NHIS. OISHA scheme. Your state health insurance scheme.
How do you spell it? How do you spell OISHA?
OYSHIA. Actually, it's an abbreviation for Oyo State Health Insurance Agency.
Okay, OISHA.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, madam, for calling. Okay, so I'd like you to give contacts now. Just give us other platforms where people can enroll.
So further engagements, please, you can call us on 090 30,000 530, 090 30,000 530, 005 7000 530, 005 7000 530, 0070 19,004, 0070 19,004. Facebook, Oyo State Insurance Agency. Reader handle OISHA_OY. Instagram, Oyo State HIA. Website, oisha.oy.gov.ng. oisha.oy.gov.ng. We can even enroll online.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. Okay, so I guess that's the size of the program for today. I'd like you to address the people in 1 minute, if you can address the people in the local language, to tell them the import of not enrolling in a national or state, focused health insurance.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ará ilé tẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi lọ́sàn-án yìí, àǹfààní ńláńlá òun ló jẹ́ fún wa láti wà lórí ètò adójútòfò. Orí ni o, ìdí ni o, àwa láàbòrí. Gbogbo owó tá à ń ná lórí àkànpọ̀, tá à ń ná lórí ìlera wa, tó sì jẹ́ pé síbẹ̀ náà àti rí ojútùú. Tá a bá wà lórí ètò adójútòfò, pọnmi lẹ́dọ̀ ń gbẹ ní 8,000 péré fún orí kan. Tó o bá ti wà lórí rẹ̀ fún ọdún kan, ìtọ́jú bí ọ̀fẹ́ òun lọ́mọ gbà lọ. Iṣẹ́ abẹ ni o, wọ́n fẹ́ gbà sórí bẹ́ẹ̀dì lọ́sibítù ni o, a fẹ́ gba gígí ni o, a fẹ́ ró lójú elétí onímú ni o. Lẹ́yìn 8,000 kò sí bàbá ńlẹ̀ tó yóò tún béèrè owó lọ́wọ́ rẹ mọ́. Kápẹ́ bí wa náà sì ní 8,228. Bàbá, ìyá àti ọmọ méjì á wà sórí ètò. Ọ̀nà kan tó ṣe gbòógì tá a lè fi ṣe ìjánu ìlera wa, tá a sì lè fi dójú ti àìsàn oníkáwà lórí ètò adójútòfò, pàápàá jùlọ ti ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Ire o.
All right, thank you very much for coming. I've been speaking with Dr. Shola Akande. He's Executive Secretary, Oyo State Health Insurance Agency. Thank you for coming, sir.
My pleasure.
And I'd like to say thanks to the media officer, the media department essentially, the media officer, Mrs. Bola Okonlawon, and I'd like to say thanks to Mary Akindele as well. Thank you for coming, and I'm hoping that when we beckon, next time you'll heed our call.
Ever ready.
All right, so the job is done for today. I'd like to ask you to stay by. About the news update at 4 o'clock, and after that, game on. M-Spies in the building already. You'd like to win something for yourself? Why not? Let's do that business of getting informed and also winning something. My name is Michael Olatunbosun. I'd like to ask you to do everything within your power to make this nation better. And please do not dump refuse in the waterways. I'll be back at 5 o'clock for Splash Rendezvous. Please don't go away.
You wanna live long, you wanna stay strong.